and all the others. This is Alex, W7FTM, along with Vicky, K8VKY. We will be your net control for the Saturday Night Trivia Net number 111. This is a direct-to-net, so all traffic should go to net control. Does anyone have any emergency or priority traffic they were holding until the start of the net? If so, please come now. If you do have an emergency at any time during the net, just say break, break, identify yourself, and we will get to you immediately. The format of the net is live trivia. One random question will be read over the air to each person who checks in. You'll have 3 answers to select from. And the question of the night tonight is, what's one thing your pets could say that would ruin your image if they could talk? As we all know, we spend more time usually with our pets than any human contact, so what's one thing, just one thing, they could say about you that would ruin your image if they could talk? All right, let's see who's checked in so far tonight via the text line. We have KJ6ARR, German Georgian Scottsdale. He checks in via email. He got his question correct. We have JR2FJI, George in Kawagoe, Japan. N6MOT, Little Owl in Monterey, California. KN6MIK, Mike in San Diego. KK7AVK, Victoria in Phoenix. KK7HLD, Dave in Portland, Oregon. KF6HDJ, Brent in Pensacola, Florida. KK7NXV, Timothy in Tulloch, Oregon. N7FGP, Scott in Houston. VK2DY, Robert, Kelly Ridge, Australia. KK7OGC, Fred in Reno. KC2JPQ, Frank in Lancaster, New York. KD58JZ, Alex in Pasadena. Let me drop a second. KI7LAG, Patrick in Beaverton, Oregon. KE5MUX, Teresa in College Station, Texas. W2AJR, Andy in Cheektowaga, New York. VK3WA, Daryl in Paradise Beach, Australia. KN6JLX and KN6JLW, Larry and Stephanie via the text line. KQ4UPQ, Chris in Hollywood, Florida. KO4RCS, Rich in Middle Lakes, Alaska. KA8BYU, Roy in Blasdell, New York, and W8EKM, Michael in Gregory, Michigan. Okay, anybody else like to join us? Full call sign phonetically twice, please.
KK4, 3 Delta Foxtrot Golf. Victor Alpha Echo 3 Delta Foxtrot Golf. Uniform in AFCO, Nature Golf. Uniform.
Okay, it's full up there. We also picked up V3RSB, Burlington, Ontario, Canada. I hope that's right. W07X, Joe in Portland, and anybody else. Try it again. Full call sign phonetically twice, please.
Yeah. 4 UPK. KQ4 UPK. Victor Echo 3 Romeo Whiskey Juliet, E3RWJ, and you also had Victor Alpha 3 Delta Foxtrot Golf, Jason, BA3DFG.
Whiskey 9 Delta Whiskey Hotel, Whiskey 9 Delta Whiskey Hotel.
Kilo Quebec 4. Charlie Bravo. Kilo Foxtrot 4, Alpha Charlie Bravo. Kilo. Sorry, Alex.
Well, there's a little doubling, but I think we picked up everybody that time. We also have VE3RWJ, Chris in Ancaster, Ontario VA3DFG, Jason. Thanks for that, Jason, in Oakville, Ontario. W9DWH, David, Nowensboro, Kentucky, and KF4ACB, Terry in Harrogate, Tennessee. And I think that should be a good start. The question of the night, what's one thing your pets could say that would ruin your image if they could talk? And going to the top, share to FTI, George, Kawagoe, Japan.
Howdy, Alex. I'm here. Go ahead.
Okay, George, what's one thing your pets could say about you if they could talk that would ruin your image? What do they know about you?
Gee, it's a bit noisy here inside the department, so I just didn't get the question. Could it possible repeat it again slowly, or whatever?
Yeah, no problem. I think I know what your answer would be to that anyway. Let's just get right to the question. The Nike swoosh logo. The Nike swoosh logo actually represents A, a hockey stick, B, the Greek goddess of victory, or C, the Chinese goddess of child labor. Which one, George?
Boy. I take C one. It doesn't matter. Thanks, Alex. Yes, I take C next control.
It broke up a little bit. Which was that? The A, B, or C there, George? If you remember which ones they were? Greek goddess of victory, Chinese goddess of child labor, or hockey stick?
The Chinese one, the Chinese one.
Oh, that's probably apropos, as my wife likes to say. It's B, the Greek goddess of victory. That's what the Nike swoosh logo actually represents. That's Nike, the Greek goddess of victory. I didn't know that till I researched this question. Anyway, thanks, George. Happy shopping. Say hi to Amy for me, and I'll move on to Little Al in Monterey, California, N6. MOT, what's one thing your pets could say that would ruin your image if they could talk? Little Al.
Oh, God. Anyway, Little Al here, N6 MOT. You caught me way off guard because I was on the phone. What would my pet say that would do what? I kind of missed it.
What's one thing your pets could say that would ruin your image if they could talk? What do they know about you that we don't?
You should see him naked. Yeah, well, that would be it. Anyway, I'm ready for the question.
Yeah, a lot of us would probably get that in one way or another. Your question, Little Al, is San Francisco police looking for Iranian terrorists mined grocery store records for purchases of this. What were they looking for? A, falafel, B, ammonia, or C, drain cleaner?
But knowing this and that, I'm going to go with falafel. Hey, probably wrong, but anyway, let's go with falafel. And 6 MOT, Little Al here.
Well, get a load of this. It was falafel. The Total Falafel Awareness Program, I'm not kidding, that's what they call it, was eventually shut down by Michael Mason of the FBI Criminal Investigations Unit. He pointed out it would be illegal to put someone on a terrorist watch list just because they bought some falafel. I happen to like Iranian falafel. It's probably the better made of the falafels of the Middle East. But oh well, at least you can still get it. They boycotted the pistachios back in the late 70s, and which is unfortunate. They're the best pistachios in the world, but anyway. SWL go to Mike in San Diego, KN6MIK. One thing your pets could say that would ruin your image if they could talk.
Good evening, Alex. Always a pleasure, and everybody else on the net. KN6MIK, Mike here in San Diego. Well, Alex, my wife, the attorney, just had a sit-down conversation with the cat and has moved her to a lower security facility. So until things get better for the cat, she's claiming all the amendments. Go ahead, Alex. I'll take a question.
Yeah, cats would know better, so they probably would do that. All right, Mike, your question is, the IRS still operates largely on mainframe computers running code that dates back to A, the Clinton administration, B, the Reagan administration, or C, the Kennedy administration.
I'm going to go with Reagan. I don't think they're running it all the way back to Kennedy. Let's go Reagan. KN6MIK. Back to you, Alex.
Well, you think they would use modern code, but no, it's the Kennedy administration. The IRS still operates mainframe computers running code that dates back to the Kennedy administration. That's right. It's over 60 years old. Hey, you ever wonder why the IRS calls it Form 1040? Because for every $50 that you earn, you get 10 and they keep 40. Thanks, Mike. Victoria in Phoenix, KK7AVK. What's one thing your pets could say, your cats say about you that would ruin your image if they could talk? KK7AVK, Victoria, did you make it tonight?
Good evening, Alex. This is Victoria, KK7AVK. One thing that my pets would probably say that I would admit on the net is that my art desk is a complete mess, and I have to constantly have to fix it every time, but it's basically cluttered. I guess that's it. Go ahead with the other question.
Yeah, I got a closet like that, and the cat tries to get in it all the time, but they can't because there's too much clutter. So anyway, your question is the very first-person shooter computer game was called A, Maze, B, Scorched Earth, or C, Wolfenstein.
I don't know this. I'm gonna go with Charlie. The first game that I played a long time ago was probably Serious Sam and No One Lives Forever. Those were shooting games. But let's try Charlie and see what happens. Thanks, Alex. Have a great evening. KK7AVK, back to net.
And thank you, Victoria. Yeah, Serious Sam was a great game. I mean, it was a crazy game. It was different. I mean, well, anyway. It was actually Maze was the very first-person shooter. I thought it was Pong, but no, it wasn't. Of course, Pong isn't really a shooter. But anyway, Maze was banned from ARPANET because of a heavy use by MIT and Stanford players in 1973, so kids were playing with the computer game, not using the computers. That hasn't changed. Thank you, Victoria. Dave in Portland, KK7HLD, Oregon, that is. What's one thing your pets could say that would ruin your image if they could talk?
Oh, thank you very much, Sir Alex. This is KK7HLD. Well, my image is bad. I don't know that they could say anything that would make it worse. I guess they could say that I'm mostly nice to them, and that would ruin my reputation. But that doesn't mean I'm nice to anybody else. Back to you.
Yeah, I hate it when people find out you're a nice guy. It's ruined your reputation. Your question is, okay, blue law time. In Florida, and only on Sunday, it is illegal for a single woman to do what? A, put on a wig. B, skydive. Or C, wear makeup. Well, that could be any one of those since it's Florida. What do you think, Dave?
I don't think I quite caught answer B. Could you repeat that one, please?
B is skydive.
Well, unless she's wearing a skirt, I can't say that would be a blue law, so let's just go with, let's go with A. That's one thing that makes sense, because all them church ladies ain't going without their makeup. KK7HL.
Yeah, I don't think it's telling them, well, maybe it is telling the books, they just never removed it, but it says skydive. Yeah, on Sunday, only on Sunday in Florida, it is illegal for a single woman to skydive. Well, yeah, you want someone around, I guess, to make sure you're okay. Thanks, Dave. W7FTM in Scottsdale, Arizona, and you're listening to the ECR Trivia Net on the East Coast Reflector, going to Brent in Pensacola, Florida, KF6HTJ. Brent, what's the one thing your pets could say, or one thing your pets could say that would ruin your image if they could talk?
Well, good evening, Alex, Vicky, and the Trivia Net. I haven't had a real pet in a very long time, and I've reminded my plush bats that snitches get their stitches removed, so they're not talking. Back to you for the question, KF6HTJ.
Words of wisdom to sow by, and your question, Brent, is the Maze Howe chambered cairn in Scottsdale. Try this again. The Maze Howe chambered cairn in Scotland is a large Norse burial site that was built around 2800 BC. Archaeologists found ancient ruins painted on the walls inside, including one at the very top of the cairn in a difficult-to-reach place, so they assumed it was an important message. When the message was translated, it read, A, this is very high. B, I count him braver who overcomes his desires than him who conquers his enemies, for the hardest victory is over self. Or C, Eric the Red wears diapers. What did it say way up there in that high wall?
Oh, I have no clue. I think it's going to be either A or C. Probably not C. I'll go with A. KF6HDJ.
Yep, as usual, you thought it through, and that's correct. Yeah, some wise guy, these are the precursors to the Vikings, climbed way up there to put that up there, knowing that people want to get up there and read it. It said, this is very high. So, by the way, answer B was Aristotle. He said that. And, yeah. Many of the early Vikings converted to Christianity and were Bajorn. Sorry. Timothy in Tillamook, Oregon, KK7NXV. Timothy, What's the one thing your pets could say that would ruin your image if they could talk?
This is KK7NXE. If you don't like them with the lights on, you should see it with the lights off.
That's a great thing about radio, huh, Tim? Nobody has to look at us and see. All right, your question is a Jeopardy-style question. You ready? The answer is $25,000. What's the question? A, how much does it cost to buy the world's most expensive candy bar? B, how much does it cost to buy the world's most expensive taco? Or C, how much does it cost to buy the world's least expensive politician?
Well, I don't think it's the most expensive candy bar because that would be the $100,000. So I'm going to go for Bravo. KK7NXV, back to net.
All right, you are. Yeah, it's $25,000 is how much it costs to buy the world's most expensive taco. The taco debuted a few years ago at the Gran Vilas Los Cabos Resort in Mexico for $25,000. Available at the resort's Frito restaurant, the culinary masterpiece includes such premium ingredients as langoustine, Kobe beef, almas beluga caviar, and black truffle brie cheese, an exotic salsa comprised of dried Marita chili peppers, ultra premium añejo tequila, and civet coffee tops the taco, which is served on a gold-flaked infused corn tortilla. Boy, it's a lot of ammunition for someone who wants to poke fun at excess. Anyway, thank you. Thanks, Timothy. You got it. Scott in Houston, N7 FGP. One thing your pets could say that might ruin your image if they could talk.
Good evening, Alex. Thank you and Vicky for doing the net tonight. Well, my dog would say, he talks on the radio in his underwear. Anyhow, ready for a question.
Now, see, if you were a female operator, I would inquire further. I won't go there. Your question is, in Victoria, Australia, only electricians may legally do this. What can only electricians legally do in Victoria, Australia? A, install an amateur radio. B, change a light bulb. C, plug in a washing machine. What do you think, Scott?
Well, I'm pretty sure the answer is B, change the light bulb. Thanks for doing the net, N7FGP.
Union. Gotta be electrician in Victoria, Australia to change a light bulb. By the way, do you know how many ham operators it takes to change a light bulb? I hope I don't drop out any repeaters here. 1 to change a bulb and tell everybody the bulb has been changed. 14 to share similar experiences of changing light bulbs. 7 to caution about the dangers of changing a light bulb. 2 industry professionals to inform the group that the proper term is lamp. 15 know-it-alls who claim they were in the industry and that light bulb is perfectly correct. 12 to say, do an internet search on light bulbs before asking questions on the air about them. 5 to say they're signing off because they can't handle the light bulb controversy. 1 to bring politics into the discussion by adding that a certain politician isn't the brightest bulb in the chandelier. 4 more to get into personal attacks over their political views, and 1 facilitator to ban light bulb discussions from the network from now on due to the animosity they create. Thanks, Scott. Robert, Kelly Ridge, Australia, VK2DY. One thing your pets could say that would ruin your image, Robert?
What that was, but we'll try it here again. This is Robert, VK2DY. I haven't had pets in decades, so I don't think there's anything they could say. VK2DY.
Really no kangaroo or wallaby or, yeah, I know. Stereotypes again. Okay, your question is, what is the correct term to describe a subset of facts? The correct term to describe a subset of facts: A, depiction; B, factoid; C, trivia.
I pushed the button. Good question here. What would it subset? Could you read those answers again, please?
Yeah, the correct term to describe a subset of facts is it A, depiction; B, factoid; or C, trivia.
Go with alpha on that, the VK2DY.
Actually, the correct term to describe a subset of facts is C, trivia. Trivia means a subset of facts. And again, I didn't know that till I researched this question. Anyway, thank you, Robert. Let's go to Fred in Reno. Hey, welcome back, Fred. KK7OGC. One thing your pets could say that would ruin your image if they could talk. I don't care, fish, bird, whatever you got. What do you say? Red in Reno, KK7OGC. No problem. He always shows up here, right? So you'd probably been distracted or something came up, so we'll get back to him later. Let's go to Frank in Lancaster, New York, KC2JPQ. And Frank, what's the one thing your pets could say that would ruin your image if they could talk? Yeah, let's see. I'm coming up on the monitor. Frank in Lancaster, KC2JPQ. Okay, well, we'll get straightened out eventually. Yes, it will. Alex in Pasadena, KD5AJZ. Alex, same question to you. Question of the night.
We are actually getting out there, Alex. I've had a lot of pets over the years, and what they would say is that I talk to them like they're people, like they're supposed to actually understand that. But of course, they don't, but they listen anyway, so it's good enough for me. I'm ready for my question. By the way, Alex, on your amateur radio, changing a light bulb, if I had a bell, I'd have rang it for that answer.
More people could add to that, but that's, you know, how the way it goes, especially on HF. So, all right, your question is, babies are born without this. Babies are born without this. A, kneecaps; B, adrenal glands; or C, the mark of the beast. Oh, except for my first daughter until she turned 3 and grew out of it. What do you say, Alex?
As long as she couldn't turn her head all the way around. I believe that is A. I'll send this back to you. Love the net as always, Alex. KD5AJZ, back to net.
Yeah, that's it. And that's another thing I didn't, yeah, they're not born with kneecaps. I don't remember, but I mean, I was born without kneecaps. It's so that baby can get through the birth canal without your mother having even more problems. And then they harden later. So, well, what's there hardens later into kneecaps. Thank you, Alex. As a W7FTM in Scottsdale, Arizona, along with Vicky, K8VKY in Michigan. You're listening to the Saturday Night Trivia Net on the East Coast Reflector, and we're going to Patrick in Beaverton, Oregon. KI7LAG. What's the one thing your pets could say that would ruin your image if they could talk, Patrick?
Good evening, Alex. LAG. Well, my dog passed away. Animals inside of my wife's daughter, and there are 3 cats, and I refuse to feed them whenever they ask. So there you go. If that makes me a bad parent, so be it. But yes, I don't feed my wife or daughter's cats. Go ahead with your question.
Uh-oh, don't say that on this net. There are a lot of cat people. It's okay. Oh, and actually, dogs do understand. I think there's like 8 or 9 or maybe more words they understand, up to 20, and they do recognize. And cats, for the most part, they know their name, and that's about it. But you know, the communication is on a subconscious level. And your question is, what 1980s pop duo wore red pyramid hats on their head? Was that A, the B-52s, B, Devo, or C, the Captain and Tennille?
Oh my gosh, you cannot be a child of the 80s if you didn't know who Devo was. So yeah, B, Bravo, KI7LAG, back tonight.
Yeah, I was concerned I'd get somebody either really young or very senior that might not know this, but you're correct, Devo. Pretty weird act, kind of funny too. Oh, you know what Devo's favorite breed of dog is? That's right, Whippet. Whippet good. Thank you, Patrick. Teresa in College Station, Texas, K5MUX. What's one thing your pets could say that would ruin your image if they could talk, Teresa?
This is KE5MUX, and, well, you know, anybody that tunes into my net on another group knows that my cat tells everybody all about it every Tuesday night. So I don't know what they would say. Otherwise, what's my question, Alex?
See, my cat hears your cat on that net, but she won't tell me. I mean, she understands what your cat is saying, but okay, we better stop before we get silly. Your question is, in 1991, the University of Cambridge set up the very first webcam that provided a live feed of A, a nest of birds outside the girls' dormitory, B, a coffee pot in an office near the girls' dormitory, or C, the showers inside the girls' dormitory. What did they set up that webcam at?
Well, I have the very scared feeling that it might be C. I'm going to go with Bravo. Thanks for doing the net, Alex. 730 KE5MUX.
Now, these guys were true nerds. They, you're right, they put it on a coffee pot in an office near the girls' dormitory so they could see when the coffee was ready. So it's, of course, internet was early then, and young then, I should say. Thank you. Yeah, that's where it was. Andy in Cheektowaga, New York, W2AJR. What's one thing your pets could say would ruin your image if they could talk, Andy?
Oh, I'm sure they would tell everyone that I speak to them in the stupidest baby voice possible. Thank you, Alex.
Who's a good girl? Yeah, I got you. Your question is, how much would a teaspoon of neutron star weigh? Teaspoon of neutron star. You know, just enough to put in your coffee to give it a little flavor. A, 3 million tons. B, 6 billion tons. Or C, nothing. Antimatter has no weight. Well, what do you say, Andy?
Oh boy, I don't know how dense the neutron star is. I'll say B, Alex.
6 billion tons. Come on, you get. That's it. 6 billion tons. 1 teaspoon. Highly compact neutron star because, well, you know, the gravity's pulling them in, and anyway. So you might want to add some cream and sugar. Also, thanks, Andy. Daryl of Paradise Beach, Australia, VK3AWA. Welcome back, Daryl. And what's one thing your pets could say that would ruin your image if they could talk?
Wow, that's not me, Alex. Well, my little Jack Russell, Molly, would say, you know, he's not really as clever as I am. And by the way, Alex, I live in the state of Victoria, and that means I've been changing light globes illegally for many years. Back to you for the question.
Okay, Daryl, we won't rat you out on this net, although you just told everybody, but that's okay. Thanks, buddy. Your question is, the royal family of England always travels with A, 7 valets to assist them with dressing themselves, B, 4 chefs to see to their culinary needs, or C, bags of their own blood. What do you think, Daryl?
Go for the bizarre one, Alex, and call it C.
The bizarre one about 4 chefs, or oh yeah, C's correct. Yeah, they royal family of England always travels with bags of their own blood, so they don't have to use commoners' blood in case they need a transfusion. Gotta keep that satanic bloodline pure. Thank you. Just a joke. Thank you. Thank you, Daryl. Larry and Stephanie in Elk Grove, California, KN6JLX, and should see what the Onion does in stories. Anyway, KN6JLX and KN6JLW. What's one thing your pets could say that would ruin your image if they could talk? They catch you eating a hamburger, didn't they?
Hey Alex, this is Stephanie, KN6JLW, and Larry, KN6JLX. I was a huge meat eater before I was vegan, but I still eat vegan hamburgers. They would probably say, they'd snitch on us and say that we use them when we're trying to, like, have an excuse to avoid human events and human interaction. Like, oh darn, I have to take care of this cat and have a vet appointment, etc. Go ahead with their question.
All right, got you down, and there's a hilarious video on, is it YouTube or I forget, but this woman, she has this little terrier-like dog, and she's pretending like she's talking on the phone, and she's saying key words to get the dog's interest, like, maybe we can go for a walk, and the dog pops his head up out of a blanket and starts looking at her, and then she starts saying a retreat, and the dog comes closer. She says, oh no, I think it's time for a bath and go to the vet, and the dog takes off running into the other room. Anyway, I guess you had to be there. Your question is, women of the English royal family are not allowed to A, cuss, B, cross their legs or ankles, or C, go on television talk shows and reveal royal secrets. Could be any one of those. What do you think, guys?
All right, I'm taking Alpha, Larry's taking Bravo. Thanks for doing the net. Have a great week.
To cross their legs or ankles. Yeah, it's considered unladylike. So they have to keep their legs together and lean. Does that mean they you have to lean one direction or have to keep their legs skinny. I'm not sure, but that's what it says. Thanks, guys. Let's go to Rich in Middle Lakes, Alaska, KL4RCS. Rich, what's one thing your pets could say that would ruin your image if they could talk? Don't leave now, it's just getting interesting. Rich, Middle Lakes, Alaska. Yeah, one more time, but we'll pick them up at the end here. KL4RCS, Rich, Middle Lakes. What's up, Roy in Blasdell, New York, KA8 BYU.
Hey, good evening, Alex. Everybody on the show unit, KA8 BYU. Probably that I spoiled too much.
It's kind of the idea, I think. You got to see my wife's cat. Your question, Roy, is, you get the weird news trivia question of the week. I like to do one of these every week, as you know. Okay, which of the following headlines from last week is a real news story? A, Trump secures 15% tariff on that extra U in British spelling. It's about time. B, Congress postpones Ghislaine Maxwell's testimony until after her death. Or C, radioactive wasp nest found at site where U.S. once made nuclear bombs. Which of those is a actual story from last week, right?
Oh, boy. Well, considering it's the weird news story, I'm going to go with Charlie just for the heck of it. Back to you.
Yes, thank you, Roy. That will be probably likely. C is correct. Yeah, they found a radioactive wasp nest. And workers at the site in South Carolina that once made key parts for nuclear bombs found the radioactive wasp nest. Say that 3 times real fast. But officials said there is no danger to anyone. Nothing to see here. The nest had a radiation level 10 times what is allowed by federal regulations, according to officials. Thank you. Bad enough you got hornet wasp. Now you got anyway. Thank you, Roy. Michael and Gregory, Michigan, W8EKM. Welcome. It says you're new here. Welcome to the Trivia Net. What's one thing your pets could say that would ruin your image if they could talk?
Yeah, good evening, Alex. First time on the net. And checking in via Echolink, so I hope I'm coming in okay. I think if my pet Lucy, she's a mutt, good dog, but if she could talk, I think she would say, now that I'm older, I would look unflattering in my swimsuit. But yeah, with that, back to you, Alex.
Well, yeah, it's kind of true for a lot of us now, but at our age, who cares? Your question is, for a second year in a row, the top name for baby boys in England was A, William, B, Oliver, C, Muhammad.
Okay, yeah, interesting question. I will say A, William. You
would think, actually it's Muhammad as top name for baby boys in England this year and last year and the one before. Yeah, more than 5,721 boys were given the name Mohammed in 2024, a rise of 23% over the previous year, according to the Office for National Statistics. Noah came in second, with Oliver in third. Thank you. Thanks, Mike. Appreciate that. Chris in Hollywood, Florida, KQ4 UPK. How you doing, buddy? Welcome back. What's one thing your pets could say that would ruin your image if they could talk? Maybe yours do. I don't know. What would they say? Chris in Hollywood, did we lose you? KQ4 UPK. Okay, maybe later. Let's go to Burlington V3 RSB. Hey, is your name Burlington, or did we just double your name of your town? I'm sorry about that. V3 RSB. What's one thing your pets could say but ruin your image if they could talk? RSB. Are you still with us? Yeah, no problem. I may have punched that in wrong anyway. So let's go to Joe in Portland. W07X. Hello, Joe. Welcome back. And what's one thing your pets could say that would ruin your image if they could talk?
Hey, good evening, Alex. It's Joe from the People's Republic of Portland, Oregon. And, I heard a guy on here earlier say that he likes to play radio in his undies. That one's not too embarrassing to talk to. So I figure my cat had something to say, he'd probably say, yeah, this guy likes to play radio in his wife's maybe.
Joe, there's a little bit of path noise coming in with you. Can you give us your answer again about what your pet might say about you?
Yeah. It's funny. I had a cat that liked to talk, and I figured he might have said something along the lines of what that guy earlier said, that maybe he likes to play ham radio in his underwear. That's not too embarrassing. W7.
Well, there are times that I'm sure people would rather listen to my cat than me, but I can understand that. Got you. Thanks, Joe. Now, your question is, a small brewery in Florida. Tell if you've had too much, you can't say the word brewery. A small brewery in Florida invented this to help marine life. What did they invent? A, edible 6-pack rings. B, biodegradable 12-pack boxes. Or C, a seaside shrimp cocktail bar for dolphins. What did they come up with there, Joe?
That's a tough one even for me over here with all these yuppies around. I'm going to go with Charlie. That somehow sounds most plausible.
Yeah, it would be pretty cool, though, a seaside shrimp cocktail bar for dolphins. And now they just invented, edible 6-pack rings. Yeah, the brewery invented these edible 6-pack rings. Saltwater Brewery in Delray Beach, Florida, says the rings are 100% biodegradable and edible, constructed of barley and wheat ribbons from the brewing process. How cool is that? They can be safely eaten by animals that come into contact with a refuse. refuse. Thanks. Thanks, Joe. Hope to hear you next Saturday. Go to Chris in Ancaster, Ontario. VE3RWJ, welcome back, buddy. What would your pets say about you that would ruin your image if they could talk?
Thanks for doing the net. I think my cat would say, stop doing that or you'll go blind. But, the cat's not very smart. Doesn't realize he's far too late. Ready for my question.
Electronic Mall Madness, or C, Indian Massacre Madness. Which one of those was an actual board game in 1989?
1989. I really don't know. I'm gonna guess A, Mad Cow Madness.
Well, although it's not much better, it actually was, Milton Bradley's game in 1989 was Electronic Mall Madness. Yep, electronic. The player who spends the most money wins. How's that for teaching kids financial responsibility? Hey, you can run up your credit card and whoever shopped the most won. I think my wife played that one. She was a professional at it. Thank you, Chris. It's a W7 FTM in Scottsdale, Arizona, going next to Jason in Oakville, Ontario, at VA3 DFG. Welcome back, Jason. And what's one thing your pets could say that would ruin your image if they could talk?
Good evening to you and everybody else. I don't know, I guess maybe something they would say is when I tell you I missed your phone call, I actually just watched it ring.
Don't interrupt Star Trek either. We, when I'm watching that. Your question is, Twisted Sister frontman Dee Snider. You remember Twisted Sister, don't you? Hard to forget. Once appeared in a commercial for A, Playtex bras, B, Stanley Steamer carpet cleaning, or C, the Milton Bradley Twister game. What did Twisted Sister appear in? Jason.
I think we'll go ahead with Bravo, I think. And thanks for doing the net.
I saw a clip of it, and it is pretty funny. Yeah, Stanley Steamer carpet clean. Dee Snider from Twisted Sister. So, yeah. I saw a headline the other day that said Twister injures 7 in Kansas. They're not playing it right. Thanks. Sorry. David, Owensboro, Kentucky, W9DWH. Hello, David. All right, what's one thing your pets could say that you'll ruin your image if they could talk?
Good evening, Alex and everyone. I would say if my pet could talk and ruin my image, they would tell people my age, my Oscar Mayer has shriveled into nothing but kibbles and bits.
Doggone good answer. Thank you, David. Your question is, a 1970 ad in TV Guide. Remember TV Guide way back in the... Anyway, a 1970 ad in TV Guide featured pop duo Sonny and Cher endorsing A, the Bible, B, marijuana, or C, the Milton Bradley Twister game. Which one?
I actually remember TV Guide, and I remember Sonny and Cher. But 1970, I was only 3, so I'll go Alpha. See what happens with that. Thanks for hosting that, Alex, as always, and catch you next week. W9, DWH.
Yeah, how about that, huh? Sunny, I can understand. Sure, yeah. Yeah, they were promoting the Bible, the Bible. One passage in the ad read, read the Bible, find out where all the music comes from. I got you, Lord. Bum, 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 bum. I got you. Thanks, thank you, David. You got it. Terry in Harrogate, Tennessee, KF4 ACB. What's one thing your pets could say that would ruin your image if they could talk?
Orange cat Thor has been sitting on the arm of my wheelchair during most of the net. But he got down, so I feel free to talk. They would probably say, I've got another black cat too. They would probably say that I cuss a lot. And I have a gruff exterior, but I'm a sucker for treats from the pantry, and I give good cuddles at night.
Tennessee, and that cusses a lot. That's unusual. Thanks. Thanks, Terry. We got you down. Your question is, I got a few of these about old, a couple of them about old children's games. The Play Mobile City Action Play Set for children allows them to A, be a cashier at a convenience market, B, flip burgers at a fast food restaurant, or C, rob an ATM with a screwdriver and a bank with a hand-loaded handgun. What does the game allow kids to do, Terry?
C, Charlie.
Yeah, that's it. It's a Play Mobile City Action Play Set for kids. You can rob an ATM with a screwdriver. If only it was that easy. And a bank with a loaded handgun. All right. Thanks, Terry. Brad in Cincinnati, N8QQ via the text line. Hey, doing, Brad? Welcome back. What's one thing your pets could say that would ruin your image if they could talk?
A2NDX, Kilo 2, November Delta X-ray, listening. 4UPK, I think my connection's back.
Like we would care. Back to you.
Oh, hold it. We're almost there, but we're calling for check-ins again.
Good evening,
we'll
gentlemen.
get back to you.
Name is Paul.
Right now we're calling for Brad in
Form
Cincinnati.
Lima, transmitting from Bronx, New York. And I think I doubled. K2NDX, Kilo 2, November Delta X-ray, Paul, Bronx, New York. Good evening.
Oh, Paul, yes, you did. And we got you down, but we're not calling check-ins yet. Let's try it again. Just Brad in Cincinnati, N8QQ. Are you there?
My apologies. I'll be on the side listening then.
What's one thing your pets could say that would ruin your image if they could talk? Somebody in South Carolina seems to be upset that I exposed their radioactive wasps. But looking for Chris in Phoenix right now, 7CR.
Hey, good evening, Alex. This is Chris at A7CR. What would ruin my image of them is maybe if they tried to make a call in the middle of the net because they didn't listen first. No, I don't know. If we talked at all, I think I was hallucinating and probably faint. Hey, back to you for a question.
Hey, no problem. Part of the territory. Comes with the territory. I'll get the right cliche in there eventually. Your question is, the Atomic Energy Lab toy kit in the 1950s came packaged with A, a real Geiger counter, B, a real oscilloscope, or C, real radioactive uranium.
Look at real uranium. How fun, right? 87CR, back to you.
Yeah, that it was. It was considered one of the, probably the best toys ever. It was real scientific, informative, but it did come with real uranium. Now, it was a low dose of radiation, but a toy like that would never be allowed these days, obviously, so. Yeah, brother. You know, I ordered a shipment of uranium-237 from Amazon last week, but by the time it arrived, a few days later, the box was half empty. I think I got ripped off. Thanks, Chris. Andrew in Franklinton, North Carolina, in for RDU. Welcome to the net. And what's one thing your pets could say that would ruin your image if they could talk? Uh-oh, the audio was so low I couldn't quite pull you out. Can you boost the audio and give it another shot?
Yeah, Alex, I'll try one more time. Different radio. I think my doggies would call me greedy because of my refusal to share my human treats with them. Back to you for a question.
I got you that time, Andrew. You know, my grandparents would only give the dog table scraps. That was in the days. I mean, you could buy dog food, but it wasn't that popular. That was the belief that, you know, dogs should have table scraps. So nowadays, your vet would have a fit probably, but of course, nowadays the food is quite as good as it was in my grandparents' time either. All right, your question is, according to Ayurvedic medicine, for maximum health and energy, you should sleep with your head facing which direction? How's your Ayurvedic medicine now, Andrew? Is it to the north, B to the south, or C to the east?
Well, I do have to admit that I am not very well versed on that topic. But I'm going to say Charlie, and we'll go with the east. Back to you, Net Control. Thanks for the net, Alex.
Got a master's degree in Ayurvedic medicine. That's correct. Yeah, it's to the east. Head east, which is the name of a rock band a long time ago. But yeah, sleeping with your head pointing east, according to Ayurvedic medicine, is also good for academic pursuits. It boosts memory, increases concentration, and promotes meditative sleep, resulting in good health. And north is considered to be the least desirable direction since it causes your body's own magnetic field to repel the Earth's magnetic field, leading to restless sleep. With your head facing south in the northern hemisphere is the best direction for a restful sleep. And that's probably more information anybody ever wanted to know about Ayurvedic medicine. Thank you, Andrew. Okay, last up, Paul in Hawthorne, New York, K2NDX. What's one thing your pets could say that you would ruin your image if they could talk? You practice Ayurvedic medicine or what? What do you say, Paul?
K2NDX returning to net control. Can you please repeat the question? Unfortunately, when you transmitted, the Morse code message went over you, so I didn't get the full question. My apologies.
Yeah, that's okay. Happens all the time. The question of the night is, what's one thing your pets could say that would ruin your image if they could talk?
I would say that our two cats would say that my wife is really their wife, and I am just the human that supplies food and pays the bills. So we have a love, I guess, triangle going on over here. add a little humor to that. I actually have a question for you because I overheard you talking regarding sleeping and effects on the body, especially hertz and sound. I don't know if you're aware of that, so I had a question if I could throw into the mix, if you don't mind, or I could wait till afterwards. K2NDX, back to net control.
First of all, thanks for asking ahead of time, and yeah, no, go ahead. It's I like sharing information here. What you got?
And I haven't been on in a while, which due to family stuff, taking care of my dad, but I'm going to be making more of a presence, especially on these nets. So my question is, your thoughts, and anyone's thoughts, on the Schumann resonance that's been occurring for the past, I believe it's been 2 months, definitely the month of July. So the effects of the hertz, that tone on the human body, causing fatigue, sleep disorders. It varies on people, but I can say I've noticed it. I have sleeping problems as it is. Case in point, I'm a night owl right now. But regardless, I know of people in different areas, fellow hams, that are being affected by this, and I was just curious your thoughts on this and any bearing towards it. K2NDX, back to net control.
Well, that would be a lengthy discussion, probably best for after the net, and I do know what you're talking about, especially the 5G and other problems or things that have come up that are affecting people's health and sleep. So yeah, there's a lot of opinion about that, but like I said, maybe after a discussion, that would be a good one. If people can keep their cool. Thanks. Thank you, Paul. All right, your question is, if you want to find out how old a bear is, just look at his A, ears, B, teeth, C, Wi-Fi, or poop. What do you think?
A tough one. And man, I wish I paid more attention in biology back in the day when I took advanced bio, AP bio. I would say the feces. Might be able to tell their digestive tract and their breakdown of nutrients.
That's kind of what I thought, and they do poop in the woods. So, well, no, according to science or the experts, you look at their teeth. Yeah, B, teeth. Of course, you'll probably have to ask them first. A bear's teeth are like tree rings when examined under a microscope. So, yeah. I'm a vegetarian because I like animals. Of course, if I ran into a bear while hiking on one of the trails here in Arizona and said, "Hey, I think you're cool," he probably wouldn't care. Yeah. Thanks, Paul. Appreciate that. All right, taking more check-ins for these SWL Trivia Net. Full call sign, phonetically twice, please.
KK7, Mike, Foxtrot, Echo. KK7, Mike, Foxtrot, Echo. Kilo, Juliet 5, Delta X-Ray, Bravo. Kilo, Juliet 5, Delta X-Ray, Bravo. KK7 OGC on a recheck.
K4 BDR Kilo 4 Bravo Romeo Boyson Surprise. Anthony in Atco, New Jersey.
KC2JPQ recheck. KC2JPQ. Kilo India 5 Whiskey Uniform. Kilo Uniform.
Hold on a second. There was a station in New Jersey. We didn't get your full call sign. Try it again.
Yes, Alex. Whiskey 2, Alpha, Juliet, Victor. Anthony in Atco, New Jersey. Whiskey 2, Alpha, Juliet, Victor.
Okay, let's hold up there. We picked up 8 more, it looks like. We have KK7 MFE, Pete in Vancouver, Washington. And welcome KJ5DXB, Frank in Sugarland. Welcome back, Frank. AC4BR, Brian in Monticello, Kentucky, via the text line. Fred Reno, KK7OGC, glad you could make it back. We had a little trouble earlier, as you noticed. K4BBR, Boyce in Surprise. Welcome back, Boyce. KC2, JPQ, Frank in Lancaster, glad you could make it back, too. And KI5WW, Lynn in Houston, and W2, AJV, Anthony in Atco, New Jersey. The question of the night, what's one thing your pets could say that would ruin your image if they could talk? Pete in Vancouver, KK7, MFE, what say you? Oh, Pete, I'm sorry, but that was about 95% pass noise. I couldn't really make out what you were saying. Can you boost your power and try it again? We'll give it another shot. Gee, I'm sorry, man. We just can't pull you out. If you can somehow boost your power and want to check in later, it's okay. But for now, we're going to have to move on. So sorry about that, Frank in Sugarland, KJ5DXB. What's one thing your pets could say that would ruin your image if they could talk?
KJ5DXB. Good evening, Alex, Vicky, and everybody on the Trivia Net. It's been a while since I've had a pet. My last one was a cat, and she had a good personality, so she might say something like, he likes to play hide and seek. Back to you, sir.
Frank, you're playing a child's game with your cat. Yeah, I would admit to. All right, your question is, what is California cornflakes? California cornflakes. A, what California residents call people who move there from the Midwest. And B, illegal immigrants that work in California cornfields. Or C, cocaine.
Very interesting. I think I'll go with Alpha on that one. Thanks for the check-in, Alex. Have a good evening, KJ5DXB. Back to you.
Yeah, I put that in there because that's what I thought it meant when I first saw the expression, but it's, California cornflakes is C, cocaine. Yeah, it's been used as a slang term for cocaine since around 2002. Apparently people still use cocaine. Thanks. I guess Ring was right. Thanks, Frank. Let's go to Brian in Monticello, Kentucky, AC4. BR, Brian, what's one thing your pets could say that would ruin your image if they could talk?
Good evening, Alex and Vicky and everybody on the net. That's a good question. I've not had pets per se for quite some time, although I had a few neighborhood cats that might argue that otherwise, but over the last several years. But anyway, that's a good question. I'd say if it were up to at least the dogs we had when I was married, they would probably say something along the lines of his farts stink as bad as ours, or something to that effect. I don't know. I couldn't think of nothing else intelligent to say, so anyway, I'll turn it back to you, Alex. What's my question?
Yeah, funny, they sell things to them that we think would be bad. They think it's okay, but I don't think they care for my deodorant more than, anyway. I won't go there. Your question, Brian, is, are you a Lord of the Rings fan? Brian, author J.R.R. Tolkien says the dead marshes on the way to Mordor in Lord of the Rings was inspired by A, the swamps of Florida, B, the marshes of northern France during World War I, or C, Detroit. Which one?
That's pretty good. Unfortunately, I'm not a big Tolkien fan. I have watched the first two of the movies, but I think there's been at least, two more that's come out, the last of the trilogy, plus The Hobbit. I'm behind, but not a big movie guy anyway. That's a good question. I will guess B, Bravo. And also, speaking of dogs liking bad smells, I'll say this quickly. I had a blue healer when I was a kid, and we had cattle, and she would go sometimes and find the freshest cow patty she could find and just roll in it and come back green and smelling well, just like the cow patty. And then confused why we wouldn't pet her for like a week. Anyway, I'll turn it back to you, Alex, as AC4BR.
Yeah, thanks, Brian. Yeah, they like to disguise their scent, and it's a really good way to do it. Anyway, you are correct. Yeah, Tolkien was inspired for the dead marshes in Lord of the Rings by the marshes of northern France during World War I. Tolkien was actually in World War I. He served for the British, of course, and he was at the Battle of Somme, and which is pretty desolate marshy area during World War I. Thank you, Brian. You got it, buddy. Let's go to Fred in Reno, KK7OGC. Fred, what's one thing your pets could say that would ruin your image if they could talk? Now, you've had time to think about this. What do you say?
Well, I am currently petless after 20 years plus over half my life with cats. And they would probably say, you didn't play with me enough. Yes, I know they sleep all day, but I still had to go to work. Anyway, go for it, Alex. KK7OGC.
Yeah, I've had so many now. I always try to give them as much attention as possible, even in at opportune times. Your question, Fred, is: you're driving down a highway on a warm summer day and see what looks like water on the road. This phenomena is called A, inferior mirage, B, Brocken spectre, or C, fata morgana.
Well, it's a mirage. I'm going to go with A on that one, Alex. KK7OGC. Thank you. Sorry for the delay.
Yeah, no problem. It wasn't Fata Morgana, the witch, and the Lord of the King Arthur. Anyway, you're right. It's that weird mirage that you see that looks like water on the road. It's very common here in Arizona, Phoenix area, is the inferior mirage. The asphalt on the road holds on to heat and warms up the air directly above it. Your brain then mistakenly perceives an inferior mirage of the sky as water on the ground. So you're seeing the reflection. So, okay. You know what you call a successful mirage? An optimal illusion. Sorry. Thank you for that voice and surprise, K4 BBR. Welcome back, boys. What's one thing your pets could say that would ruin your image if they could talk?
Hey, good evening, Alex. Well, I hadn't had any pets since I lost my wife in 2019, and we had a cat and 2 dogs then, and they have ceased. They have followed her. But if they could talk, they'd probably say I was a cheapskate because I didn't buy them the $50 a bag dog food, and I went for the cheaper stuff. But they all lived up into their teens, and they never really complained about it. And especially the dogs, they swallowed whatever I fed them whole, so they didn't complain. But if they had known I was feeding them the $3 bag instead of the $50 bag, they might have started, tried to make me look like a cheapskate.
Yeah, it's a good point, boys. A dog will eat whatever you give it, and it'll be grateful. A cat will look at you if it doesn't like the food and say, "What the hell is this?" Anyway, your question is, all right, boys, name that tune. I have wandered through this world, and as each moment has unfurled, I've been waiting to awaken from these dreams. A, Dr. Robert by the Beatles. B, Dr. Wu by Steely Dan. Or C, Dr. My Eyes by Jackson Brown.
Oh, let's see. I'm going to go Jackson Brown Charlie on that one and see how it lands. K4 BBR.
And nicely done, you are correct. Yeah, it's Dr. My Eyes by Jackson Brown. I think that was written in the mid-70s, maybe late 70s. He actually used to play a lot of concerts here in Phoenix. He was with the Eagles for a while, and anyway, it's Dr. My Eyes. You got it, Betty. Thank you. It's a W7FTM in Phoenix, Arizona, along with Vicky, KQ8. Lord, am I going to mess up your call sign? KE8, VKY. I need a vacation. In Michigan, you're listening to the ECR Trivia Net on the East Coast Reflector, and we're going next to Frank in Lancaster, KC2, JPQ. What's one thing your pets could say that would ruin your image if they could talk?
Good evening, Alex, and everybody on the net, or maybe good morning. The dog would say, sit next to this guy at the dinner table because he'll keep feeding you table scraps. He used to like to do that, and if you tried to kind of ignore him, he would just kind of bump your leg a little bit and let you know that, hey, I'm still sitting here. So I'm ready for my question, Alex, and I'm sorry I missed the first check-in. Back to you.
Not a problem, Frank. Just glad you can make it to the net. And your question is, not exactly a scientific question, but when Bell Telephone launched its first phone systems in 1878, the company's switchboard operators were A, Civil War widows, B, smoking, swearing, beer-drinking teenage boys, or C, engineers who understood the intricacies of the system. What do they use for operators then?
You always come up with them easy ones for me. I'm just going to say C, Charlie. I have no clue. Have a good week, Alex, and I'll talk to you next week. KC2JPQ.
Oh, I think you're batting 100 on the science questions. This is kind of an odd, and obviously I didn't know this either, but in 1878, Bell Telephone had switchboard operators who were B, smoking, swearing, beer-drinking teenage boys. Now, here's why. Connecting the call back then was physical labor. Each one required some 2 to 6 people to plug switches into tall switchboards. This generally meant days spent standing and stretching. And Bell Telephone reasoned that teenage boys would be energetic enough to pull it off. And plus they worked for very low pay. Unfortunately for Bell, they also acted the way teenage boys tend to act, jamming the calls and getting into mischief during their 12-hour shifts. So that didn't work out. Anyway, thanks. Thanks, Ray. Glad you can make it. And Lynn in Houston, KI5WW. What's one thing your pets could say that would ruin your image if they could talk?
Good evening, Alex, Vicky, and everyone on the net. Thanks for on the net. KI5, Lynn in Houston. I'm answering this through my 4 grand dogs, and so when I'm grand dog sitting, I believe that each one of my grand dogs is being reincarnated, and so they would tell you that sometimes my questions to them about their prior lives and stuff can get a bit embarrassing. So I'm ready for my question, sir.
Movies out where animals start talking, and most of them aren't that good, but there was one. Anyway, I can't remember the name of it, so I probably shouldn't even bring it up. Your question is, on January 1st, 1976, people in Los Angeles woke up to find A, snow on the ground. A rare snowstorm dropped 2 inches of snow in the city. B, their houses shaking. A 5.4 magnitude earthquake on the Hollywood fault hit the city at 6:20 a.m. Or C, the iconic Hollywood sign was altered to read Hollyweed. Which of those is true?
Great question. I'm going to go with Charlie because I was in undergraduate school at that time, and I probably wasn't very cognizant on January 1, 1976. Back to you, sir.
And that's what happened. Yeah, the Hollywood sign on January 1st, 1976 was altered to read Hollyweed. Danny Finegood of Los Angeles pulled the stunt, celebrating the decriminalization of marijuana in California. Well, they decriminalized it a long time ago. It got worldwide publicity at the time, which I'm sure it did. Thanks, Lynn. And W7FTM in Scottsdale, Arizona, going next to Anthony in Atco, New Jersey. W2 AJV, welcome to the net. What's one thing your pets could say that would ruin your image if they could talk?
Good evening, Alex, and good evening to everybody on the net. If Chris and Paul and Frank are hanging around, they are local to me, and I've spoken to any one of them at any given time. Well, Chris is not local, but Frank and Paul are. I think my cat would say I have gray hair. That's just an educated guess. So, you're doing a great job, Alex. Back to net control. And this is my first time checking in and my second or third time on this reflector. So back to net control, W2 AJV. I'm ready for my question.
Thank you, Anthony. Well, we generally don't allow gray-haired people on this net, but we'll make an exception for you. Your question is, in the early 1900s, many people feared that children who spent too much time at the movie theater would A, become sickly adults, B, become blind, or C, become criminals. Could be any of those. What do you think, Anthony?
I would say, I think it was A, become blind. I'm sorry about that. I'll pay attention more to etiquette. W2AJV, back to net control.
Well, actually, there are a lot of things they were worried about, children spending too much time in the movie theater about, but actually with the main fear in the early 1900s was, A, that children would become sickly adults. The idea was that sitting in the movie theater all day would rob them of exercise they needed for healthy growth. And of course, they were right, but parents were right on that one. Thanks, Anthony. Glad you can make it. Hope to hear you next Saturday. All right, Chris in Hollywood, Florida. Glad you can make it back. KQ4 UPK. Now, what's the one thing your pets could say that would ruin your image if they could talk?
I could talk. I really don't have an ego or an image. So my image, my QRZ page, so I try to reflect that as much as possible. And so I don't think my cat would have a problem with me trying to reflect that image.
No problem, Chris. Got you down. And your question is, by law, what is banned in Japanese restaurants? A, singing, B, tipping, or C, George, JR2FJI. What are they banned in Japanese restaurants?
Well, I'm just going to go for a guess because I really don't know what ban is in Japanese restaurant. And I never cheat, so I'll just go with B, just for the heck of it.
An idea that time has come. Well, only if they would pay people more here for doing restaurant work. But yeah, tipping. Yeah, tipping is banned in Japanese restaurants. So don't leave a tip. It's kind of an insult. And it's really interesting if you've ever been in a Japanese restaurant. Much different than what you would experience here for the most part. Anyway, thank you, Chris. Got you down. All right, we're taking more chickens for the ECR Trivia Net. If you want to play, full call sign phonetically twice, please. All right, Hal, Hillsboro, Oregon, KC7ZZB. You might be the last one tonight. We'll see and make another call. But the question of the night is, what's one thing your pets could say that would ruin your image if they could talk?
That I don't spoil it. Think I'm the boss. Audacity to go someplace. Okay. KC7ZTV.
Okay, Hal, you're cutting out a little bit, so if you can boost your power, or like I like to say, stand on one foot, get on your table, whatever you need to do. So I got you down, and Vicky did copy your answer, though. Your question is, there are 1 trillion germs that live on A, your hands, B, your feet, or C, your Jefferson Airplane's Surrealistic Pillow album from 1967. What do you think, Hal?
I think since my hands touch almost everything around me. I would guess they would pick up the most germs, Alex. So I'm going to pick my hands. Kilo Charlie 7.
The funny thing about that question is that what most people would think, but oddly we tend to wash our hands or clean our hands even before COVID nonsense fairly often, but it's your feet that has the trillion germs that live on it. So yeah, wash those every now and then too. See, Jesus was right. Anyway, thank you. All right, let's try it again. More check-ins. SWL Trivia Net, full call sign phonetically twice, please.
Kilo India 7, Zulu Romeo India. Kilo India 7, Zulu Romeo India.
Yeah.
WA6 ABC, Whiskey Alpha 6, Alpha Bravo Charlie.
Hold it right there. Pick up two more. Don in Kennewick, Washington. Glad you can make it, pal. KI7ZRI and Michael in Beverly Hills, California, that is. WA6 ABC. Welcome to the SWL Trivia Net, guys. The question of the night, what's one thing your pets could say that would ruin your image if they could talk, or you could talk? Don and Dorothy, KI7ZRI, what do you say?
Well, hey there, Alex. It's been a while since I had a pet, but I imagine they'd say I look a lot like George from Japan.
Yeah, I'll mention that to him. I did not know that. All right, your question, Don, is in Singapore, you can be fined 10% of your income for not doing this. A, tipping a waiter. B, praying to Allah. Or C, flushing a public toilet.
I might have to go with Charlie there. Thanks for doing that there, Alex. KI7ZRI.
And you're correct. In Singapore, they can fine you 10% of your income for not flushing a public toilet. Now, there's a law I could get behind, so to speak. Thanks, Don. Michael in Beverly Hills, WA6 ABC. Welcome to the net. What's one thing your pets could say that might ruin your image if they could talk?
But I never brush my hair. Never, never, never. I just run up and feed them and don't take care of myself that way. I look much more bedraggled than they do. They're constantly grooming, and this guy never grooms. Sometimes I forget to do it before I go outside, so I look like I have Albert Einstein hair. And back to you for the question, I guess.
Gets caught in the breeze, a home for the buzzing bees. The glory and power of my... From your area, I think that song was. Anyway, your question is, every year, 2,500 left-handed people approximately die doing this. A, hitchhiking on the wrong side of the road. B, using right-handed products. Or C, firing right-handed pistols, what unfortunately bumps off about 2,500 left-handed people per year.
Some of that got cut off, but the only one that seems to make any sense is the right-handed pistol thing. Using right-handed products is too general, I think. I don't know. I've gotten these wrong so far. I've been playing at home, and I don't have any clue.
but I'm going to guess right-handed pistols, even if it's wrong, and we'll see what the right answer is, so I'll learn something from this. Back to you from WA6ABC.
You know what I hate is when I go to get a pair of disposable gloves, and I only get the right-handed ones. It's, well, people when they fire pistols are usually careful, but no, it's using right-handed products. Yeah, it's left-handed people using right-handed products. Unfortunately, it can kill some people. It's too bad. They should have more left-handed products. I think there'd be a market for it, but anyway, thanks. Thank you, Michael. Thanks for checking in. Let's go to Rich, Middle Lakes, Alaska. You made it back, KO4RCS. What's one thing Cujo would say that would ruin your image if he could talk?
Good evening, Alex and all the net KO. RCS, Rich, rainy Middle Lakes, Alaska, 58 chilly degrees. Well, they'd probably tell on me because I sit there and have conversations. Well, I did with him. Rest in peace no longer, but the cat too, you know, she comes over here and we sit here in conversation all day long. She'll sit there and talk to me and I'll talk right back. So they'd probably tell on me. Back to you.
Yeah, let's see, a bunch of 8 feet of snow on the ground. Don't want to drive anywhere. I'd probably talk to my animals too. Thanks. Thanks, Rich. Wants to go outside. All right. Although 58 isn't bad for where you are. Your question is, according to the Aetherius Society, who is alive and living on Venus? Alive and living on Venus. Who do they believe is alive and living on Venus? A, Jesus Christ. B, Aphrodite. C, Jeffrey Epstein. How do you think, Rich?
Oh man, I was hoping Elvis Presley was going to be on that list. Because I figured for sure he'd be up there. Let me try Charlie. Doing it, Alex.
Yeah, you're welcome, Rich. Thanks for being there. And no, he's actually in Tel Aviv, but Jesus Christ is who the Aetherius Society believes is alive and living on Venus. And, well, he can take the heat, so that's what they believe. Thanks, thanks, Rich. All right, taking more check-ins for SWL Trivia Net. Full call sign phonetically twice, please. Last call, taking check-ins for the SWL Trivia Net. Full call sign phonetically twice, please. All right, we'll get to this question about the number one topping for pizzas in Australia. Come out, please. All right, then, let's call it net and see how we did first. It looks like we had 40 people checking in, total of 40, and of those who answered the question and weren't in and out, we had 23 people got their questions correct, and only 15 people missed their questions. That's 60% to about 40%, actually 60.5 to 39.5 for you statistics people out there. Not bad, still more correct than incorrect. And Once again, I'd like to thank everybody who did participate tonight, with special thanks, of course, to Vicky, KE8VKY, for logging the net. We now return control of the East Coast Reflector back to you until next week at the same time, when the control voice will take you to the Saturday Night Trivia Net. 7-3, good night, W7F Team Clear.
Thank you for a great net, Alex. Ricky, KK7HLD.
you.